Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Movie Spreadsheet. And I think we're going to call this Versus or Verse or V or something creative. But just a reminder, the format is going to follow. We're going to review both movies. We're going to have an after credits scene, post credits scene, and then we're also going to have a feature. So a lot of cool things happening in this episode today. But before we get into that, we got to correct some mistakes. We're only human. We make mistakes. Eric, anything you messed up on last time?
Yeah, and a big one too. So last time when we were talking, we were doing our top 10 draft from the New York Times 100 list. I was talking about Bridesmaids. I was super excited. And then I referenced Girls Trip in one of the comments that I was talking about where it was in New Orleans. Bridesmaids wasn't in New Orleans. I'm an idiot. So I'll try not to make that mistake again.
Yeah, please don't. And I also made one minor mistake. I referenced Bryson DeChambeau's golf shafts as being lab shafts. Obviously, lab, awesome putter, just being purchased by a major company or being sold by a major company. They're LA golf shafts, not lab. My fault. Let's get into the review of, let's do K-pop Demon Hunters first. Eric, kick us off with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. Oh, wait, hold on. First, we always start with the scores. So here are the scores right here. But just to talk a little bit about the movie, we open up, we meet this 3-person girl sensation singing group. They're winning fans and audiences all over. But there's a little bit of a twist. Turns out that in addition to their singing, they fight and they kill demons that are trying to infect the public. And demons are identifiable by really beautiful tattoos and artworks on their body. And all of a sudden, the girls are met with their big enemy. It's a new demon challenge boy band, and they've been given extra powers by the head demon so they can come back, win over all of the souls on Earth, and then they can forget some of the bad stuff that they've done in their past. As the story goes on, we learn about some of those difficult decisions that the boys had to make. We also learn that one of the female singers is part demon. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they both had a big singing and band competition to see both who was going to win Best Singing Group and also who was going to either take over the Earth or save the Earth. And they sort of had to join forces at the end in order to defeat the underworld. So, just some of my thoughts. Overall, what worked well, the animation was amazing. The colors were beautiful. So, if you've got like an HDR display, they really pop. You see like the deep blues, the deep purples, the oranges. I thought that was awesome. The vocals, clearly everyone who was involved could sing. The music was really exciting. You could kind of get into it. And, you know, I got to give extra points. If you're an animator and you can make some heartthrobs appear on screen and you're like, oh man, I'm kind of into the cartoon, like extra points there. What was okay? The amount of singing, it wasn't too much. It wasn't like nonstop musical, but I also wasn't sitting there like I need more songs. What didn't really work for me in a lot of like the fight scenes, the sound, it didn't feel like we were getting like, you know, the sound of a fight scene. It was more about the music. The story was just a little, it was just sort of okay to me. I couldn't really get into the characters. You jump right in with them being pop stars. You also learn that they're fighting demons. The ending, I was a little upset because why are you killing off the boy band? I understand that they had to unite at the end and either choose all good or all evil, but I don't think they had to die. And I'm not sure, Kyle, if you've ever seen the musical Six. This movie reminded me of that musical because that musical was a competition or a story within a competition, and this movie was kind of like you had them fighting the demons, but also trying to win a singing contest. So I thought that was interesting. But ultimately, at the end of the day, for me, I'd rather watch something like Trolls or Sing. So those are my thoughts. Kyle, what were you thinking?
Well, I have a question for you before I give you my thoughts. Would you be okay with a sequel? Is this a movie that needs a sequel moving forward?
Oh, I don't think so. No.
Would you be surprised if I told you this is the number 2 streaming movie on Netflix of all time?
Of all time?
Of all time.
Yeah, no, that's mind-boggling to me. It wouldn't surprise me if you told me it was like number two currently because it's family friendly. You know, I can see the whole family getting into it, but of all time, that's got to be a worldwide number, right?
I have no idea. But I know that I was like, okay, if this is number two, what's number one? Number one is Red Notice, and number three is Carry On. So if that's giving you any kind of credibility or validity to this list, to have K-pop Demon Hunters be at number two.
Is this all time or all time within Netflix?
All time within Netflix.
Okay, yeah, then that doesn't really surprise me, but also my feeling on Netflix movies are you should generally avoid them. So, uh, you know, so you're number two of a mediocre list.
Well said. All right, so I left the movie. Well, I would be responsible for five of those streams, as everybody in my household has watched it one time. So all four of us, and then two of us have watched it twice. So we have a lot of streams going on in this house for it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I might have found like a new workout playlist because the music in this was incredible. And I oftentimes speak about how I don't like original music in movies. I just got absolutely shattered by K-pop Demon Hunter with the original music. Did any songs make it to your playlist?
No, not a single one.
So for me, you said you didn't feel like it was too much singing. I felt like maybe in that middle part I could have done with like a song or less. But man, I love Golden. The Soda Pop song was or whatever it was called, super catchy to me. We're playing it in the car 24/7 now. I really enjoyed it. I think in terms of what would I be hoping for a K-pop band that fights demons in anime, I think this is about as good as it's gonna get for me. Do you want to reveal your overall score?
Sure. So for entertainment, it was a 5.5 for me. It was just above average for entertaining. Met expectations, kind of along the lines of what you said. When you hear K-pop Demon Hunters, it mashes those two together and it mashes them together well. I just thought there could have been more to the story. Sound was at 8 because the music I thought was great. The visuals were at 9, actually stunning. Length 10. It was like the perfect length. 7.5 overall for the ending. Again, I don't think all of the boys had to die. And then overall, that gives it for me a 6.525. That's the bottom 20%.
Another bottom 20%. But honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. And when I signed this, I was like, this could go one of either two ways, it being mediocre, it being really bad. So I feel like that's kind of where it ended up. Let me give you my scores. For entertainment, I gave it a 6.5. I didn't really think it was deserving of that score higher of a 7. I didn't think it was worthy of being lower than a 5. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I really liked the first 30. I also really enjoyed the last 20. It was that middle 40 where I was kind of like, this needs to go somewhere and do something. The animation was cool. Achievement of goal, 8.5. I mean, I have no connection to K-pop. I know nothing about it, but like now I'm like kind of getting into it. So if you've got me to download a song onto my playlist, and by one song I mean 4 songs, you've done a pretty amazing job. Ending 9. I love when they reunite. Obviously, spoilers. I love when they reunite, fight the demon, and then oh my god, the blue tiger. I got to talk about the blue tiger. So funny. The blue tiger knocking over the plant, and then the plant getting set back up, and the bird with 3 eyes with the hat. I loved it. Length, like you said, really great length. I gave it a 9 out of 10 just because I felt like there was a little bit of a pacing issue, making this an overall score of 7.625 and number 119 on the movie spreadsheet, which puts it into the top third. So are you surprised that it was as high on my list as it was?
Yeah, it ended up higher than I would have thought. What would your kids have ranked it if they were making a spreadsheet?
So much higher. I mean, they're talking, yes, they're talking about it all the time. Kids are talking at school about it. This is just one of those things that is just sweeping the country right now, maybe the world. I have no idea. I can just only talk about what's happening in New Orleans in the little tiny bubble I live in. But also, like, we're mentioning it for possible like Halloween costumes. Who goes as what? Everybody wants to be Rumi because she's got the coolest hair ever. I want to be the blue tiger. Augie wants to be the blue tiger. Who's gonna win that battle? I have a feeling I'm gonna be the weird bird thing. Anyways, any closing thoughts on K-pop Demon Hunters before we move into the next one?
No, I think what you just said was really interesting. It's definitely a fun family movie. I usually enjoy family movies, so maybe this one just didn't talk to me as much. But like, I loved Trolls. I loved Sing. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not. I wasn't the right audience. This one just didn't hit me in the right way. But I thought you were going to be putting this movie just under a 7 overall. I had you down for a 6.975, so I was within a point, but you liked it a little bit more than I thought.
I did. It was just the staying power of the music. Okay, so let's move into now the second portion of this review, which is Back to the Future. So this is going to be one that I had to pick up. It was difficult to find. I have a really hard time renting movies. I feel really guilty for paying to rent a movie for $4 or $5 when I can just pick it up for 10, 15, 20, 25. But I did pick it up for like $20 and got all three. Worthy addition to the collection.
Well, I definitely think it was, but I can't wait to hear what you thought. I assigned it to you because I want it on the movie spreadsheet. So, Kyle, what'd you think?
On the movie spreadsheet, it goes. All right, so I got to say, I'm not going to pull punches. I know this is one of your favorites, so you asked me to put it on here. I'm going to tell you what I thought. My first thought right away was, where would the 80s rank in terms of decades for movies? Because the 80s movies, like Back to the Future, it just starts, it gets into the plot, and I love it. I love when movies start with urgency, and I don't feel like movies today have that same urgency to tell a story because they're being given so much time to tell that tale. But wow, the plot about your mom being into you was like a lot for me. It was a lot to see, and keeping in mind this is a PG movie, it does go in that family genre. I was also surprised by a racial slur that came out of nowhere, as well as a few suggestions of like sexual assault in terms of like, hey, if I come on too aggressively to this person, then you can step in and beat me up, and that'll win her over. And then Biff then like actually tries to do that, and that's ultimately what happens. That kind of caught me off guard. Overall, though, I feel like I'm talking too negatively about it. I really liked it. I love the quote, "When this baby hits 88, you're gonna see some serious shit." I thought that was so funny. I just really enjoyed it. I love movies from the 80s. My scores are up here on the screen already, so you know where it stands. Eric, why is this movie one of your favorite movies of all time?
Several different things stand out to me. So, like, Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, Christopher Lloyd as Doc, and the souped up DeLorean. Like, you put those three things together, you can't think of anything else other than Back to the Future. Um, I also really liked that the conflict was completely not realistic. Like, time machines don't exist, but you understood it and they made it seem believable. Some of the acting was completely over the top. Like, Biff is just insane, but he like triples down on it. Or Marty's dad, especially before going back in time, and Doc Brown, especially. But it just somehow all gels together. And I have to tell you, I don't know what this says about me, but the first probably like 15 times that I saw it, I never really thought about like the incestual part. I just thought it was kind of like a funny twist in the conflict of what you have to deal with when you go back in time. And hey, sometimes you might have your mom trying to mac on you if you try to mess with the space-time continuum. I mean, this is some serious stuff. So, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I think if you take some of the individual pieces out, it completely falls flat. But when you put it all together and you get to that final scene where he's driving down the street and is the lightning going to hit the clock tower and make it across the street and get into the flux capacitor right at the right second. I mean, I'm sitting there and I can feel the music and I'm like shifting and I'm using the clutch and just doing it myself. So I absolutely loved the movie. I just think it all fits together so perfectly. And Robert Zemeckis is possibly my favorite director of all time. And so that also stands out to me too. One other thing though, So you watched this on Blu-ray. When the movie ended, did it say anything about to be continued?
I didn't watch far enough into the ending to allow it to happen. I cut it off where it was where Doc Brown comes back and is like, we got to go to the future. It's something to do with your kids or your family, and then they kind of fly off, and it's like, oh, okay, this is clearly set up for a sequel. And that was one of the notes I had for you was how do you feel about movies that sort of build in that sequel into the first movie, basically saying like, there's a sequel coming. Are you a fan of that? Are you not a fan of that? And then I got one more question for you. So comment on the sequel thing. And then also the sound. The sound in this movie was incredible to me. Does the sound stand out for you too? Can you please answer those two questions?
Yeah, so for the first question, the movie was never written as a trilogy. It was written just as that first movie, and it was going to be end with them blasting off into the sky, going into the future, and that was supposed to be it. But the movie was so successful that between the theatrical release and then the release on VHS back in the day, they added to be continued into the credits. So at that point, they knew they had to turn it into a trilogy. And when you open up the second movie, they had to add in a certain plot line because they wanted to eliminate some characters from the story. So I find that really interesting, especially because when you end up watching it, it feels like it was always meant to be a trilogy with slightly in the past, way in the future, way in the past. I'm okay with a movie setting up a sequel when it's actually intended to be that way, and there is a beginning, middle, and an end, or like a beginning and an end, like a Kill Bill Part One and Part Two. Um, I'm okay with that, especially because in those situations they turned out to be good. Um, so that's the first question. The second question about the sound, yeah, I mean the lightning cracks. You have the right before the car goes through time, um, and the soundtrack. I mean, yeah, we're going way back to the '80s, but Huey Lewis that fit the movie perfectly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've got a few other things I thought really stood out. And I think with Kill Bill too, I think Kill Bill was actually edited or shot as being one movie, and then they decided to edit it into two for the purpose of length, which I obviously feel like was a great decision. I also love like how outrageous the 80s were in terms of movies. Today, if they were going to make a movie like this, the bad guy group, would they be like, oh no, it's the bad guys from the terrorist organization, blah, blah, blah. That would be completely made up. But in this movie, they're like, oh no, it's the Libyans. And you're like, whoa, we're just throwing that out there. Insane. I also felt like Michael J. Fox might do one of the cleanest hood slides I have ever seen. So much so that I had to rewatch it. I was like, oh damn, did he just slide across the DeLorean like an absolute ballerina? It was pristine, maybe best one of all time. The skateboarding, top notch, and then finally, to tackle time travel and something that Marvel really hasn't been able to fully take advantage of, or I feel like due to such a precise and well executed level. And I feel like Back to the Future did a really good job breaking down time travel in a way that everybody could understand it. So those are my closing final thoughts. Do you want to do your overall score first, or do you want me to do mine? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, go ahead. You reveal your overall score.
Okay, what do you think? Now, this is going to look kind of weird because my score is obviously up here, but you can't see that. What do you think my overall score is for this one? Do you think it's higher or lower than K-pop Demon Hunter? And then why don't you guess my overall score?
Well, uh, hmm. I think it's going to come in lower than K-pop Demon Hunter just based on your comments earlier. But I'm going to stick with my original guess because I think my original guess is coming in below what you ended up giving K-pop Demon Hunter. I said you were going to rate it 7.85.
Okay, that's actually really close. So, my overall score is an 8.05, making it number 87 on the spreadsheet, and number 87 on the spreadsheet, making it top 100. And I will say it was an 8.30, but I did take off a quarter of a point for one. Just the racial slur in the family movie was insane to me, as well as the mom line and the sexual assault stuff was kind of intense. The prosthetics on like when they age the parents, and then the acting, that some of the acting was so goofy, especially for his dad, over the top. It was extremely, like you said, distracting. It distracted me. It was like, okay, Biff. It was like, oh my God, this is tough to watch. So 8.30 minus a quarter of a point, 8.05. Really good movie. I can't wait to watch the second one. All right. Where is this on your spreadsheet?
All right, so I have it at 9.8. Well, let's see. Overall, 9.75. That's made up of 10 of entertainment, 10 of met expectations, 9 sound, 9 visuals, 10 length, and the ending is a 9. So that rounds out to a 9.75 or 9.75. I forgot to put the overall number in my notes, so I have the spreadsheet open behind me just in case. So it's in the top 10 for me. I did have one other question for you. So I've seen Back to the Future, the musical, on stage. And as you said, it's always interesting when you go back in time and you watch movies that dealt with subjects in a different way. When I went, I was wondering, are they still going to do like the terrorist thing at the beginning where he stole the fuel from the terrorists and then actually name them? Are they going to deal with some of the sexual assault stuff? They changed very little with the play, which is a modern adaptation, and that surprised me. So I was surprised to see that lived on. Did the use of the term 1.21 gigawatts bother you?
No, honestly, not at all. Didn't even think twice about it. Should it bother me? Does it bother you? It must bother you.
Well, so I grew up my entire life thinking a gigawatt was something that was super scientific and unique to like the nuclear power industry. But turns out they brought an expert on stage that didn't know what he was talking about and said, yeah, it's a gigawatt. And now we know it's a gigawatt, just like a gigabyte. And anyway, I just, it doesn't bother me. It's funny because it's one of those things that stands out and they have to carry it through to the other movies because they started it off that way.
Okay, that's weird because I didn't like. I was like, okay, gigawatt. I'm assuming, but when I pictured it in my mind, I still wrote it like I would write giga, and so I just figured it's like somebody saying measure instead of measure. I was like, is just Doc Brown being like crazy weird old Doc Brown, or is this? I don't know. It didn't, just maybe a regional dialect or something. Okay, let's move. Yep, go.
I'm excited. It's now in your spreadsheet, so I can see where it benchmarks.
I'm pumped about adding movies like this to the spreadsheet because I want to keep that average north of 6. So I'm trying to fill in my spreadsheet with movies that I know that are classics that are going to score high so that it doesn't look like I'm such a hater on movies. I don't want my average to be sub 6. Okay, let's go to the feature section of this video, which I'm pretty pumped for, or actually say a lot of teachers and students are not pumped for, and that is the end of summer, heading back to school. So what are your top 5 school or teacher related movies, or teacher or profession or school has to be in it somehow? Give me some of your favorites, or we can go one by one. What do you want to do here? How do you want to do this?
I say we go 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1.
Okay, I'm excited. I got weird with mine too. Mine is a little goofy. Wait, so are we going? Is this like fantasy draft style where I want to get my first pick, or is this like where we can have the same movie in here?
Oh, I definitely hope we can have the same movie.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we just reveal our list bottom up, but we go one at a time.
Okay, bottom up. Okay. I need you to start. I need some more time.
You need me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my number 5 for top 5 school movies or related to school is Cruel Intentions. I feel like that movie kicked off kind of like that genre, and I thought the plot twists were interesting. I thought like the backstabbing was interesting. It kind of brought in this notion of like, rich suburban high schools and the conflict that can exist and just how mean that kids can be. That whole Ryan Phillippe, era of movies. Definitely had to have Cruel Intentions on the list.
Okay, wow. This is a movie that I have not thought about. So I also say I didn't research any of the movies. It's just stuff I thought of. But Cruel Intentions was an awesome movie, and I remember watching it several times. I think it came out in the mid '90s, right, when we were little lads.
Yeah, mid late '90s. It was like like the OC time.
Okay, so now I'm seeing where you're going with your list, and I think I might have gone like a little bit cheap with my list, but it's okay. I'm gonna go number 5, Varsity Blues. This movie for me was like defined high school, what it meant to be in high school in Texas and play football. Obviously, I'm not from Texas and didn't play football, but like when you watch this as a young kid, you're like, is this what high school is gonna be like? Go ahead and go to number 4. What do you think about Varsity Blues? Or
I definitely think it's top 5 worthy. So don't. I think you're spot on. So my number 4, I'm going to change it up. We're going to go to a comedy, Kindergarten Cop. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie. I love the cop that gets sick. I also remember seeing it when I was a kid, and I thought it was really scary. It combines humor. It's funny. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best. Kindergarten Cop has got to be on the list.
man, these are two movies that I haven't thought about in so long, but Kindergarten Cop was awesome. And I definitely rented it multiple times for like little kid sleepovers. So awesome choice. All right. My next one at 4, it might be the funniest movie that deals with schools. I just love and also involve like my favorite actor. Billy Madison has got to be on here. So silly, so good. Having to go through all of the school levels again to show that he can inherit the company or whatever happens. I love it. Classic. Owned it on VHS.
Gotta love Adam Sandler. I totally support that at number 4. All right, number 3, I'm going to get a little more serious. I loved Good Will Hunting. I was really impressed that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote that movie. I love Robin Williams. He is so good at comedy, but he is scarily good when it comes to drama. And you get some of those classic lines. How about them apples? I love that movie. So Good Will Hunting, number 3.
Awesome choice. That definitely made my list of movies I wrote down. I love it. I mean, like just incredible that they wrote that. And then, Robin Williams' character, completely inspiring. One of those movies when if you like work in education or you work with kids, you're like, dang, like this is the type of person that like I want to be for somebody else. So really cool. But I'm gonna go like completely other end, and I'm gonna go Easy A. For some reason, I don't know why. I really like Easy A. Thought it was really funny. I can't tell you why this movie stands out to me, but it does. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I need to add it to the list.
Whoa, yeah, you definitely got to watch Easy A. I was talking to Megs about this list, and she was like, you haven't got to like some of the big ones yet. And then I said Easy A and the other one. She's like, okay, finally, the ones that I was looking for. So Easy A.
Okay, Easy A. Megs approved too.
Megs
All right,
approved.
good. Okay, top 2 now. All right, my number 2 movie for top 5 school-related movies of all time, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I don't know how that doesn't make it onto everyone's top 5 list. If it didn't make it onto yours, I'm not really judging. Okay, maybe a little. But kicking off Ben Stein's career, right? Or at least it feels like that's where it kicked off. It's such a classic. I love that movie.
I mean, awesome movie, right? Like everybody has to see it sometime in their life. And one of the coolest cars in movie history ever, right? That Ferrari. So awesome choice. It is not on my top 5. So number 2 is going to be School of Rock. Give me some Jack Black. Let me see him being a substitute, rocking the classroom out. I love this movie.
Was that the other movie that Megs was hoping for, or not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But it's not going to be on my list.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm really curious to know if we have the same number 1. All right. So you ready for my number 1 overall?
Yeah.
Here we go. Drum roll. American Pie.
Oh.
Maybe I just Maybe I just grew up at the right time for that to hit me at the right time. But that soundtrack was amazing. You know, mixing in all of the stuff of Stifler's mom, the pie itself, um, Eugene Levy, like everything melded together and was fantastic. So that's my number one school related movie.
Dude, awesome. I mean, iconic again, right? Like everybody saw American Pie. Everybody knows who everybody is. Even on White Lotus, when I don't even know her, I don't even know the actress's name, but I'm like, is that Stifler's mom? Like that's how I identify said actress, which I will put a picture of her up here,
Come on, dude.
with her name.
Jennifer Coolidge.
There we
She's
go.
got a house in the Garden District here.
Did not know that.
And I won't have to fact check myself on that one.
All right. My number one is a little bit out there. I do not think that you thought I was going to go in this direction at all. I thought about being silly and throwing out stuff like Red Dawn or The Rookie or going like Hoosiers or something like a little bit more sporty. But I went with the movie that I just feel like is magic in schools, and that is Harry Potter. Is the quintessential returning to school movie, being in schools. Also, how cool would it be to go to that school? We describe my daughter's school as being like, it's like Hogwarts. So that's my top 5 list. Any surprises for you?
No surprises. I totally support Harry Potter. I think that is a great. Yeah, who doesn't want to go to school at Hogwarts? Who doesn't want to have their own magic wand and play Quidditch? I do. I am glad you did not go with Hoosiers. I watched that movie and I get the meaning, but I don't get the movie at the end of the day to stick them in for. Oh wait, no, I'm confusing it with Rudy. But either way, Rudy, Hoosiers. I'm glad you went with Harry Potter. Definitely deserved to be on the top 5 instead of those other movies.
You know, there was one movie that was driving me absolutely crazy that I couldn't think of, and I'm gonna put up an image of it right here once I find it. But it's a movie that takes place at like a boys' school, and it's like Kevin Kline is the lead actor, and like Emil Hirsch is in it, and I just felt like it was really good. Couldn't come up with the name of it. Can't use it. The one that Megs would want on this list would have been her number one, would have been Mean Girls. She felt like Mean Girls should have been on this top 5 list. So
it was in my top consideration. I didn't bring it up to the top 5, but Mean Girls is a classic. So I think it's top 5 worthy.
Yeah, solid. Okay, let's move into that post credits scene now. And last week I started it, so this week you kick it off. What's going on?
Okay. So here's what else is going on. So Kyle, do you watch the US Open or tennis majors or tennis on TV?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay. I love the majors. I love over 4th of July waking up early and having Wimbledon on ESPN and I can watch it super early. The US Open being on all day and you can watch every match. I absolutely love it. When you're watching it, and a player clips the net, what do they do to the player on the other side of the net?
They do like a little nod, a little bit bow. I don't know what the word for that is.
Yeah. They do what the word for it is fake apology. They do a fake apology. It drives me absolutely crazy. And I feel like I'm channeling my inner Larry David. But if you give them a body serve and you basically hit them, you take the win. If you drive it right by them, you take the win. If they can't return it because you hit it over into the corner and they couldn't make it in time, you take the win. But you just barely clip the net and you give, the fake apology, even though you're like, fist bumping because you got the point. It drives me crazy. It's not sincere. Let's eliminate the fake apology and let's also eliminate the let on serve. Okay, that's all I have to add.
Interesting. Eliminate the let on serve, which I believe they do in college. I don't believe there's a let on serve in college. If you serve in and it's in, like it's not faking. I think you'll find this enjoyable, but also now kind of aggravating. It was my wife and I were playing, Megs and I were playing like pickleball. And I'm not going to be one of the people who are like pickleball. But we were playing pickleball and she's like, how come you get so many more bounces that hit the net and go over? And I was like, it's because every time I do it, I give my little nod and apology, and the net god is understanding that you're
getting net karma.
I'm getting net karma, and you're not getting net karma. Great term. Coin that, copyright it, phrase it. You're not getting net karma because you're not doing that. And I think Megs was like, "That's dumb." So I think she's here with you here, understands that one. I also have another question for you about the U.S. Open that's driving a lot of people crazy. How do you feel about the
Shoot.
Sunday start on the U.S. Open?
So I'm the wrong person to ask. I love the U.S. Open, so you can add more fake stuff at the beginning, and I'm gonna watch and be into it. I was watching the mixed doubles earlier before Sunday, so yeah, I'm all about it. Why not start on a Sunday? Then we can kick it off on a day when we're used to watching TV. I think it's great.
Okay, another question. Eric and I love sports, so this may quickly go off the rails. But another question I have for you is can you rank the majors in terms of ones you'd want to win from least want to win to most want to win?
Me personally, if I ever could play, yeah, I would most want to win Wimbledon, followed by the U.S. Open, followed by the French, followed by the AO.
I love it. Great order.
I mean, Wimbledon is it's the best one. It's like on the golf side, it's like the Masters. So, like Wimbledon has to be at the top, right?
Yeah, it would be tough for me too. I would go Wimbledon.
Would that be your same list, or what would that be your same order? What would your order
Well,
be?
I'd go Wimbledon first, obviously. You got to win at Wimbledon. And then I would go the French because I really like clay. And then the surprise here is that I think most people would say US, but I'd actually go Australian because I just think they love it so much down there. And I think it'd be cool to be like an Australian Open champion and then move to Australia and live there permanently and then just be like worshipped. And yeah, you get a cool Australian nickname too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I like that plan. I think winning the Australian Open and then being worshipped in Australia. Let's go achieve that.
Yes. Okay. Here is,
Okay.
yes.
What's your post credit scene? What you got?
I had a lot to choose from. I had a lot to pick from, but I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to keep in that sports realm because something drove me crazy today when I was watching the Tour Championship, watching Tommy Fleetwood get his first victory, and I believe 134 career starts. I'm going to fact check that up here, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Winning the $10 million purse. It was like the ninth hole, and a little box popped up on the screen, and it was a betting prop. It was like the odds for these players to hit the. I was like, what is this? I don't have a problem with the betting that occurs in sports, but I don't want props to appear on the screen on a major feed in a tournament. That just cheapens it for me. Stick to the apps, keep it in the apps. I don't want to see that on the screen, especially if I'm watching it with my kids now. I got to explain what that is. I really didn't like it. And it really rubbed me the wrong way. But what do you think?
Yeah. So I'm kind of with you. Like, at what point does a stat become a betting odd? Because I don't understand why you couldn't just put it up on the screen like he has an 80% chance of hitting the green, or 80% of shots hit from here today have hit the green. That's a stat. But then as soon as you put up the odds, it just feels different, and it feels like so many things in society today feels like impure, but when you are playing a sport and there are rules, it feels like that's pretty much as pure as it gets, right? Then you start throwing in stuff like odds. It's just starting to cross that line. Like even during the NBA championship, or I guess before that, whenever Charles Barkley was still on TV, whenever someone was up shooting free throws, they'd cut to what looked like a studio break, and Kenny and Charles would give their parlay pick for like the next 5 plays. And I agree with you. It's like, it's just a little bit much. Give me the sport, and I'm on the apps, so I'm not lying. Let me use the app for that part of it, but give me the pure, plain broadcast. Although I'll take odds and stats any day instead of hearing Jim Nance talk.
Nice. The other shocking thing that's going on with this, I'm not sure if you've been following what's happened with I believe it's the Guardians pitcher, or the Twins pitcher. There's somebody in the AL Central, I believe. I'll put the article up here. But he's had some suspicious activities around his first pitches. Like you can actually bet on a pitcher's first pitch to be a ball or strike. That seems to be like a parlay that we should not be moving into, or a prop, sorry, not parlay, that we should not be moving into. I agree with you. I feel like it cheapens it, and it kind of makes it seem like, is this not entertaining enough? Like, are sports not entertaining enough that we have to, like you said, cheapen it with like a little bit? Like, I just really didn't like it. Okay, so that's all I got. You got anything else for the post-credit scene?
No, that's it. I cannot wait to see what you're going to assign me this week.
Do you want to take a guess as to what I'm going to assign you?
Jeez. Well, is it new or old?
It's new. It's streaming this week. I think comes out on the 25th to stream. So
okay,
maybe sooner.
I couldn't. Is it new to streaming, or is it a streaming?
No, it's
movie?
it's new to streaming. It's a major movie. It's going to be streaming on Disney. It's not Fantastic Four. I think Marvel.
But it is Marvel.
It is Marvel.
What came out before the Fantastic Four? I definitely saw it in the theater. What is it?
Oh,
Tell
did
me.
you? Thunderbolts.
Ooh.
Thunderbolts
Maybe
is
I
now
didn't.
streaming. I didn't see it. I didn't see it on your list. That's why I kind of was like, okay, I think this is going to be a good one. So I have some hopes for Marvel. I know you're a Marvel guy. I've heard that this could be the movie that starts to right Marvel a little bit. I kind of feel like the path that it has gone down has not been great, and that this movie can hopefully kind of restore some of its former glory.
I love Marvel, so I'm rooting for them too. And I think sometimes when we criticize things, people think it's just because we're hating. No, it's because we actually love it so much. We just want something good to come along. So I'm excited to check it out. That's great. So that's on Disney Plus. I've also got a streaming movie for you. This one came out to HBO Max earlier in August. I guess you can kind of say Disney related or Disney adjacent just because the star of the movie is Pedro Pascal. I did a little bit of reading into this. It supposedly has a really cool Pulp Fiction feel. It combines like characters and timelines. So I want to check out Freaky Tales. It's on HBO Max, and it apparently debuted at, I believe, the Cannes Film Festival last year. So I think it could be good.
Hell yeah. I'm excited. I love having streaming movies to watch at home. And Freaky Tales, I almost started multiple times. I ended up starting Opus and Final Destination Bloodlines instead. But it was a movie that I'm very excited to see. So pumped to have two movies I'm looking forward to. Eric, closing thoughts before we sign off for this episode of the Movie Spreadsheet Verse?
I'm really excited about the movies that we get to watch this upcoming week. And hey, we did this in under 45 minutes, so our length score is going up.
Awesome. And thanks to everybody that's supporting the channel, that's subscribing, that's liking, that's commenting, that's sharing. If there's anything that you want us to watch that you think should be one of our movies, or any two movies that we're versing each other in this week Back to the Future one, please comment below. Thanks again for watching us, and stay tuned for more from the Movie Spreadsheet.